People all the time ask me, do your horses jump? I'm like, well, yes, they all jump. What our horses do is they don't refuse. And sometimes folks get kind of confused about that, you know, we're not hunter jumper people here, and we don't claim to be and don't want to be. But what we do want to be is handy. And what we want to do is this horse, we want him to be very willing for whatever we want to do. So my approach to this is very simple as it comes to jumping horses. I think you're better off schooling that horse not to refuse rather than schooling him to jump. They all know how to jump. They're all physically capable. They could jump over the barn if they wanted to. But what you have to do is condition their mind to where they don't refuse to what you want to jump. So I've set this little course up here to kind of work on that. And I like to do that in hand first as normal, because if he cannot organize himself jumping empty, he sure is not going to do it loaded. And with you hanging on the reins and everything else, it just makes the whole process confusing. So if you'll notice, I've got my course set up here with my barrels and different things, and I got it different heights. And I've got my little spool set up here for barricades. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lunge my horse around to where he gets feeling good about the load. Come on, Petey, come on, come on. See, he's got to learn to rate that jump now. See, he cheated on me. I let him do it. It's my fault. Okay. See, he didn't rate that correctly. He was a little off step. But see, he's got to learn to count his steps, rate his jump. See, that's a little better. A little better. Now we're going to turn him. Come on. Now, Petey's no prime jumping specimen by no means. But, you know, I'm just doing this to kind of show you, you get this at a trot, don't worry about cantering him through them yet. We're going to just, see there, he's just counting his steps. You know, as he comes around here, we're on a hillside. So, you know, he's navigating kind of rough terrain and on a hillside. And now we'll go to a little taller one, okay? And what I kind of like to do, I saw some fancy horse barn women one time where they tap the ground when he does that. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. I never had any real riding instruction or horsemanship instruction. I read a lot of books, and I've always had a lot of fancy town girls come out here that spend a fortune on lessons, kind of show me how they do things, and I just kind of learned from everybody. See how he's picking his front feet up. Now he'll canter. Come on. There, Petey. Very good, son. My golly, you might be ready for cross country. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Now we're gonna turn. Turn. Come on. He likes it. But see how these spools work good for a nice barricade? And if he hits it, it's not going to hurt him. There we go. Okay. So now, another thing I like to do is over here, say if you're starting a horse and he's unsure of himself, I love to get these barrels like this and spread them apart, okay? So we're gonna take him through these split barrels first and just get him feeling good about going between the barrels, okay? And then we're gonna crowd him over Make him go over the barrel, okay? Then we'll crowd him over, take him over the left barrel, okay? See, I've got these where I can roll out and make it wider, make him jump further. I like to use a round post there because if he hits it, it'll kind of roll under his feet and it won't hurt him. If you use a square one, you know, it might hurt his ankles. Come on. Come on, Pete. Come on. Yeah. So, you know, at this stage in the game, it's not so much important about jumping form as much as just him not refusing, okay? That I want to be able to go to different jumps and different types of jumps and get it to where he's just not refusing anything I put ahead of him. Come on, Petey. Come on. I'm not forcing him. He's liking it. He's getting along. But see, that's why I like to use these types of things. If he does hit that pipe, it's not like a jump with a pole on. It's going to knock the pole off. This is going to teach him to keep his feet up. You know, and as inexperienced as Petey is at jumping, I mean, if you'll notice, he's picking his feet up. He doesn't want to hit that thing. And so that's kind of good, you know. This is just an old piece of road pipe here that I picked up somewhere on a job that was left over. But it's worked out well for us, and we've got them in different sizes. So, come on, come on. There. I've got them in 24s and 18s, and so obviously I'm not going to come to that one first. I'm going to go out here and jump those small ones, and I might put them apart and get him going over the different ones and just spend a lot of time out here just going over these jumps, and you know, and then when he's done good, we'll sit here and we'll take a break, we'll relax. A lot of times when a horse has done well, I'll sit here and make a phone call or something and let him just sit here and take a break. You know, you got to kind of know when to quit. You got to know when you've kind of accomplished what you set out to do, and then just go on to something else. Because you can do too much of this and get him to where he's tired of it, and he gets tired and doesn't want to do it anymore. So, you know, what I would do is, if you want a good jumping horse, take him and work him like this on the end of a rope and get him to where he just doesn't refuse. And that's the main thing I want to point out right here. Is if he comes to here and you feel a little resistance to this one, well, then go to a smaller one and get him feeling good about that, and then do this one right a couple times, and then take a little break. Where the worst thing you could do is get him to where he says no, and you let him say no and get away with it. Well, you got a big problem on your hands there. Because, you know, I've got horses in here before that unsuspecting people have allowed to refuse. And I tell you what, that's a big problem to untangle. Very big. It's huge. So, but you have to bring it up in stages. You have to work this in a way that, you know, you're building his confidence. He's got to feel like the king of the jungle, and there's nothing that he can't cross. And that's where you as a horseman have to be careful that you don't ask him to do things he's incapable of. And, you know, don't get him in trouble. Don't get him hurt. And think about what you're doing. And realize this is a process that takes some time. You got to get this all worked out in a timely fashion. That, you know, you don't start out here first day. You work your way through all this stuff. So, but, you know, another thing you can do is do it without the saddle on. And then the next day maybe put your saddle on and get him used to jumping, feeling that girth up underneath him, you know, before you get on and ride and do it. But, you know, the worst thing you could do is come out here and try to train your horse to jump mounted when you haven't done this in hand and got him to where he's learning how to manage his steps approaching the jump and manage his body and manage his balance going across there empty, because I just don't think that it's wise to come out here mounted and try to do all this stuff that most of these horses have a hard time at first with nobody on their back. So, you know, just take a common sense approach to this and don't force, and just work at it in a way that, like I've said many times, layer by layer by layer. Take your time. Measure twice, cut once. And don't get in a hurry. Be patient. And when you feel things boiling, you feel things energizing, and you feel things getting hot, then you slow down. When things get fast, you slow down. If you want to get somewhere in a hurry, take your time. I can't overemphasize that enough. That just don't push and don't force. Let the horse come on at his own pace. And when you're done, you'll have a treasure.